Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
And we're going to look at something else now, because it was almost a year ago that the Labour leader took to the main stage of Glastonbury, cheered on by thousands of people to the tune of "Ooh, Jeremy Corbyn." I'm not a singer. The festival isn't on this year, Glastonbury that is, so party organisers put together their own show, Labour Live, and our reporter Greg Dawson went along.
They claim this is the first event of its kind in the UK. A festival of politics, a little bit of debate, and lots of live music.
But I think it's fair to say much of the attention this week has focused less on who's playing the stages as opposed to how many people are actually going to be watching them. There were reports at the beginning of this week that just 3,000 tickets had been sold. The Labour Party then dropped the price from £35 to a tenner, and then the unions literally started to give them away without any proof that you'll remember.
I think I paid for £10, I got the lower fee.
What made you want to be here today?
I thought this was a really good opportunity to meet like-minded individuals about certain policies within the Labour Party. I'm a supporter myself.
You don't feel aggrieved, you don't want your 25 quid back?
Absolutely not at all, not in the slightest.
No, I think the idea...
We'll pay more.
Whether you paid or got your ticket free, there was definitely plenty to keep people entertained.
This is the Solidarity tent, and that is people's question time.
There was also some political poetry.
Since 1948, your NHS was real cause to call this country great.
Ice cream, courtesy of the Unite Union. And yes, that band is playing the red flag. All this was the idea of party chair Ian Lavery, who wanted a way to capitalise on Jeremy Corbyn's big moment at Glastonbury last year.
That was a great occasion for Jeremy, it was a great occasion for the party, but this is a unique festival. It's a Labour Live festival. It'll be a great event, as good as what it was in Glastonbury.
As good?
Why not?
Owen Jones, artist.
Artist! I played a couple of my new singles. You joke actually, but I did say on Twitter that I was going to do a rap battle with John McDonnell.
I know you're going to say I'm being cynical here, but can you see that perhaps it hasn't gone as smoothly as the party would have hoped?
No, because no political party has ever attempted a festival on this scale, and the fact that they sold thousands of tickets, there were thousands of people here from all over the country, the fact that a political party can pull something like this off. The Tories could never do it in a million years.
Clean Bandit may have been the headliners, but the biggest crowd of the day was saved for... yeah, him.
Ours is a politics of determination. Ours is a politics of inclusion.
But amongst the thousands of supporters, a brief flash of dissent. A banner was held up, ordering the Labour leader to stop backing Brexit.
What happened for me is that a man got very angry, called me a Conservative. As I say, I'm a Labour Party member and a voter. Started screaming in my face and told me that I'd ruined the event and that I was playing into the hands of the Conservatives. And as I say, I think it's really disappointing because ultimately the people who are going to be most negatively impacted by Tory hard-led Brexit are going to be Labour Party voters.
What supports the Conservatives is a Labour Party which appeases, not opposes, the biggest disaster for Labour's voters. And that's what they're currently doing, and we're just trying to democratically and peacefully make the point that they can't continue to do that.
Unite to bring on an election and unite for a Labour government. Thank you very much once again.
Jeremy Corbyn has just finished his speech on stage as some people start to head towards the exit. Labour say 13,000 people showed up here today, so you could say not the many that they'd hoped for, but definitely not the few either.
Well, that was Greg Dawson having fun at Labour Live. You were there too, Lucy. Did you enjoy yourself?
I had an excellent time. I had to engage in a little bit of light-hearted snark in the early part of the day when the crowds were a bit sparse. But no, it seemed to me it worked well where it was more like a literary festival. The talks, the panel events were really well attended. The music stage, less so. I don't think people want to combine politics and gigs in that kind of way.
Well, that and the fact that they didn't really book any kind of huge headline acts that would have attracted people. But there had been a lot of sneering about this. People saying that not enough people were going to turn up, that it was going to be a failure of an event. Were the critics wrong? Did they actually pull it off?
Yeah, I'm not going to join in the sneering at all. Any event that brings people together on a Saturday when the World Cup's on and all the other things to talk about politics, young people, older people, maybe not the numbers they wanted, so what? I think it's fantastic. I mean, someone who does live shows would dream for how many thousands, Gabe? I'd like to do it in front of 20,000 or whatever. I just think bring people together to talk about politics is great, and I don't like the sneering about it. Sorry,
well, can I was going to say, is the money lost potentially? I mean, they're headed for losses of up to £1 million, and that's not an insubstantial amount of money for a political party to throw away on a fun day out for 13,000 people.
When it was presumably conceived of as a fundraising event.
I think it was supposed to be about sort of neutral, cost neutral, but, you know, about small M momentum being raised.
Yeah. So even The Guardian thought there were no more than 5,000 people there. I think there's one person tweeted yesterday, there were so many right-wing columnists and journalists. Like Spectator annual garden party.
The Tories couldn't do it, though.
No,
that was Owen Jones's point.
It would be even more embarrassing. No, one thing I thought the most hilarious fact there, though, was the fact that Stormzy wanted 100 grand to appear, and that was on mates rates, because come the socialist utopia, of course, we'll all be earning £100,000 for an hour's work. That's how it works. No, but I agree with you. I like that people are coming together and talking about politics and getting together, but this is actually about hubris. This is actually about cult of the leader, cult of Jeremy Corbyn. And actually, they had 20,000 tickets to sell. They were able to get rid of. They didn't have to sell even at full price. They had to give tickets away. Ended up with 5,000 people. Perhaps the cult of the leader is finally waning.
The most dramatic moment in the House of Commons this week was when the SNP all walked out en masse after trying to force a debate on the EU withdrawal bill. Different views from leader writers and journalists down in Westminster about that, whether it was an effective protest or a stunt. Lucy, what did you think?
I thought it was an effective protest, actually. I chased them out to where they all congregated on College Green, and so disciplined. It's amazing to see 30-odd MPs. They stood in silence. They wouldn't be broken up and talk to individual journalists. They waited till the cameras were rolling. I think it was to the Daily Politics they spoke. I think that kind of coverage they wouldn't have got if it had just been a regular Commons debate on Scottish devolved politics and opposition to Brexit.
But it was still a stunt. I mean, it was very well carried out, but it was still a stunt. I mean, the fact that the Speaker, John Bercow, had actually promised to have hear their issues about having a sitting in private, although as a Democrat, I'm not really keen on sittings in private in the House of Commons. He actually promised that within about 20 minutes after PMQ's finished. There was no need for them to walk out. It was always pre-planned. It wasn't spontaneous. But it plays very well with SNP voters.
Yeah, they've put on over 7,000 members as a result since that happened.
It wasn't about achieving anything. It was just a stunt to please their supporters.
Well, they would say it was about bringing to the fore their issue with the EU withdrawal, and not just the fact that they didn't have enough time to debate it, but with where powers are being distributed when they come back from Brussels, and that's at the forefront of the agenda.
But they're perfectly happy for Brussels to have those powers for years, but not so happy with Westminster to have it. I'm not quite sure what the problem is.
I mean, you cover this every day, but it shows that Nicola Sturgeon, who would have authorised that,
says she didn't.
I bet she knew about it at the very least. That she is determined to use Brexit to fuel renewed interest in a second referendum. Now, there's no evidence yet of that momentum, but she is going to do everything. And the framing of that, the Westminster Parliament ignoring the rights of Scotland, is the framing that she wants to renew that interest.
This is it, because people say, well, you look powerless if you're walking out, if you're protesting in that way. But that, of course, can be made to be the very constitutional point. Yes, we don't have enough power in Westminster. That's the setup. Why don't we change that into a situation where we don't have to take Westminster diktat? Exactly. Of course, that can be a very effective argument for them. But one that people in the rest of the UK are interested in, Lucy?
Well, I think that's the big problem. Getting people in England interested in kind of what Holyrood makes of Brexit is a really difficult task. I mean, interest in Brexit seeping away as it is among kind of things that will affect English voters. So, yeah,
does the government care that the SNP and the Scottish government themselves are in such opposition to their plans?
Yeah, I think that there is a sense of pain in Westminster that you know, the devolved administration can't get on board with the government plans here, but at the same time they're going to have to railroad them through, because for the future of the United Kingdom, to keep everyone on board, the timetable of Brexit, I don't know what else they can really do.
It's the same old problem, people not
we'll have to
accepting
leave
the
it there,
outcome
I'm
of
afraid.
referendums.
Julia, Steve, Lucy, thank you very much for that. That's